Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? From this end, it tells me my sound is good. You can't hear me still. Wow, that's strange. You can hear. Oh, fantastic. Great. You can hear me now. And there's background music. Is the background music too loud? Or perhaps that's the challenge. The background music is the challenge. You cannot use my own reggae to spoil my blues. I'll reduce it here. All right. So, no, not too loud. All right. Thank you. There is usually this few seconds delay between when I ask a question and when the responses come on StreamYard when we use YouTube. Oh, you like the background music, Michael? I'm happy to hear. Great. That's a feature that StreamYard added sometime this year. So we can have some background music while we're speaking. Good now. Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hi. So it means you didn't hear all that I said before. Fantastic. I'll say it again. I was saying that one of the biggest challenges to holding on to the plow throughout the year, sticking with your resolutions, your New Year resolution, is that sometimes it gets hard, it gets difficult. And so some of us drop off on one hand. On the other hand, some of us never even had a good plan in the first place on how to stay true to our dreams, our desires, and our desire to win. Some people didn't have a plan to win. So the very first series we had was Planning Your Year, where we talked about different methods to plan, including writing things down, going to the end, begin with the end in mind, come back. Then we decided, I said that Wiser is coming. And if you remember that last year when John Obidi was here, he was the one who made us start this series. This was supposed to keep the spirit of Wiser fresh. So we decided that the last Monday in every month, we will talk about something that would help us stay wise for the year and hold on to our dreams through the year. After we talked about planning your year, we decided to talk about winning your year. So we've been in the series of winning your year, and we've been taking our lessons from a book that has blessed my life so much. And if you haven't read it, I recommend it to everyone to read it. It's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I celebrate you too. I celebrate everyone on this call. Thank you all for being here. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you have not read that book, I know you've heard about it, but if you've not read it, and I'm not saying read to tick a box that you've read, read to apply, read to imbibe. That's not a book that I would say read in 1 month. It's a book I would say read in 1 month, and then every month read a segment of it, which is what we've been doing. We've been taking the different chapters of the book. We've been talking about the different habits. And today we're on the 7th habit, which is sharpen the saw. But for Talk with Joyce, I called it stay sharp, stay sharp, stay sharp. Why are we talking about staying sharp? Or being sharp, sharpen the saw. If you find someone, a part of the book says it, that if you find someone who has been about 5 hours in trying to cut down a tree, and you get to that person and you go, oh my, he or she is so tired, they've sat down, they're like, I'm so exhausted. And you say, okay, can you take the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes to sharpen the saw? And the person says, no, I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I only have time to cut. Now, many of us find ourselves in situations like that, where we are so busy cutting, we are so busy trying to make it work, we're so busy in the race that we don't have time to sharpen the saw. And I speak of this with my full chest, because I have been in that situation before, where I am so bent on doing what I need to do that I forget to take care of me. So when we talk about sharpen the saw or stay sharp, who is the saw? Who is the saw? What is the saw? I'll wait for your responses in the chat. What's the saw? Or who is the saw? I'm waiting for responses. What is the saw? Nobody's responding. What's going on? Okay, I'll say the saw is you. The saw is me. The saw, yes, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, me, the whole of me. I am the saw. We are the saw, exactly. I am the saw. If there was no me, would there be a dream for me to follow? No, it's only because I am here that I have a dream that I can follow. The saw is me. The saw is you. The saw is us. So you and I know that story about sharpening the saw, and the person says, "Oh no, I don't have time to sharpen the saw," and continues to struggle. Like my sister would say, to struggle. You are struggling. Whereas if you take some time, in fact, a fraction of the time just to sharpen the saw, you'll find that your results are better. Many of you have heard me talk about Jim Rohn. Let me write his name here. Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is someone I respect, I love. He's one of the motivational speakers, inspirational speakers of the 80s, who was so influential. He's of blessed memory now. And he talked about when his life was changing, and his mentor, Mr. Schoaf, asked him about how much he earned. And he said, well, all the company pays me is this amount of money. And he says, that's all the company can pay me. So Mr. Schoaf asked him, are there other people within that company that earn more than you do? And he said, yes, there's some who earn much more. And he asked, why does the company have money to pay them more than they pay you? Why are they earning more? He said he had never really thought about it that way. Some people are in the same company that you complain has only little money to pay you, but they're paying so much more to someone else. Why? There's something about that person as an instrument that might be sharper and makes cutting easier. So if you check it, that person might have a degree that you don't have. That person might have some experience that you don't have. That person might have some courage to do some things that you will not do. That person might be bringing in some results that you cannot, even if you are willing to, you just don't have the skill set. They have sharpened themselves. They've made themselves more valuable. Now, the thing about sharpening is that sometimes it looks like a wasted effort. Sometimes it looks like you're wasting your time. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to follow a sequence to sharpening the saw. So let's talk about what I consider, this is not from the book, this is what I consider three major steps to sharpening the saw. Three major steps to sharpening the saw. You know these things, but some of us don't practice or don't practice enough, or we just need to be reminded that this is good practice, so we should continue. Number one, and this is in no particular order, or well, let's talk about it first, and then you can put it in the order that makes sense to you. Number one is rest. To sharpen the saw, to stay sharp. If I'm going to stay sharp, I should rest. I would rest. It is somebody who is well rested that is usually sharp enough for new challenges, or sharp enough to face the music, as it were. I remember the days of writing exams, SSC and co. And some of us will read morning, read night, read through the night, come into exam hall, and shockingly, you'll find some people sleeping during the exam. Why? They were reading all through, and they had no time to rest. At that time, resting seemed mundane. If you know what I'm talking about, please tell me. I know what you're talking about in the chat. You can just write talk. I know what IKW. Well, those of you who are going to abbreviate it now, you will write the abbreviations. It was shocking. You would find some people in the exam hall, they may not be sleeping, but they're so drowsy, they can't even be their best. They're struggling to write, struggling to remember. They know everything they want to say, they want to write, but they are so tired, they're giving half their best. Thank you. I'm seeing your responses. They're giving less than their best. And then what happens at the end of the day? They don't do as well as they could. Hey, Florence, don't come. Equator. I know what you're talking about. After coming back from TDB, yes. It happened to me maybe once or twice because I was not that TDB person. I used to go and sleep well. Equator. But I knew a few people, and then there were some people who would TDB but would be fresh because before they went TDB, till daybreak, for those who don't know what TDB is, reading till daybreak. For some who went TDB, they slept during the day. They came back from class and they slept until it was night time, about midnight or so, or past midnight. Then they got up to read. From there, had a bath and came in to write the exam, right? So they got some rest at some point. Some people didn't rest at all. From class, they went to, what do you call those things, tutorials, then they attended fellowship, then they had dinner with friends, then they got to the room, had a bath, and started reading until it was 5 a.m. Then they started preparing to come out to the exams, putting things together. Or some of them now said, let me just get a 1 hour nap. And then they slept for that 1 hour. And then when the alarm went off, it now gave the headache. The 1 hour no reach. So they're now tired. They've slept, but it's just 1 hour. So they're feeling groggy. Then they get to the exam hall, there's a slight headache, and then the wahala starts from there. Now, this is during an exam. We're talking about real life now. Many of us don't rest, especially. I dare say, I stand to be corrected, or I seek to be corrected. I dare say those of us who run our own businesses, many of us don't have boundaries. We attend to clients 24 hours because we go, this one will be paid employment. The client is the boss. When the client says jump, you jump. So you're constantly on your phone, checking who's buying your course, checking who is trying to reach you, checking who has sent you a DM. You leave your phone on, you tell yourself that there might be emergency in the middle of the night, they might call you impromptu for one job. So your phone is on, it rings at odd hours, you check the messages, you say, no, I shouldn't be caught sleeping. I shouldn't be found sleeping on your bike. And then many of us never really make time to rest. And so when there's no rest, it will tell on our health at some point. It will tell on even the way we look at some point. It will tell on the clarity of thinking, clarity of thought that we experience. We think we are thinking clearly, but at some point, we now start wondering why we are not fresh. There's just something not fresh about me. I'm not resting. So to rest, I always say rest physically, mentally, socially, rest all around. The man called Kenneth Copeland, many years ago, I was watching one of his videos, and he said, for goodness sake, even God made one day every week to rest. We call it Sunday. I still remember how it's called a Sunday. And there are how many Sundays in a year? How many weeks do we have in a year? 52! 52 days we have to rest every year if you would take only your Sunday. But guess what? Many of us work on Sundays as well. And I'm not referring only to Sunday as the seventh day of the week. I'm referring to that day that you decide you will rest. So please, if you don't have that day, create it now. Which one day a week will I rest? Initially, you might find it hard to do. But when you realize the value of that rest, you'll find a way to make it work. Rest. That is the day where you do nothing work related, you do nothing that is exerting energy, you're eating, you're sleeping. I always say be very careful when you say you're watching movies as a means of resting. Not everybody rests when watching movies. So be careful when you put movies into your rest day. For me, I don't find movies restful. Movies are very active for me. When I'm watching a movie, I'm thinking, I'm planning, I am trying to attach it to my mind. I sometimes can take notes. Oh, do this. Oh, this is the. So movies for me are not necessarily rest. Movies for me are active learning classrooms. I am very active. I'm in a classroom. I'm taking notes, sometimes physically taking notes, sometimes mental notes, and later write on it. Oh, I need to flesh out to this, that. So check it. But then there's some people who will just watch movies and halfway through they've slept. For some people, movies are what do you call it, sleeping pills. So be careful what is restful to you. Restful to me is lying in bed and sleeping. Sometimes rest to you could be hanging out with friends. But then again, who are your friends? And are your friends the type that bring you relief? Or you guys will quarrel, you bicker about stuff, you will know how you take out each other's different, you would what was that? You take on each other, and then you come up saying, "What the hell did that one say? What did she mean by saying this? Who is he to even tell me?" You've not rested. You were in a battlefront or on a battlefront. So be careful. And for some of us, we could really just decide that it will be Sunday. That it will be Sunday, as in that day of the week, Sunday, where you go on Sundays. For those who go to church or something, I go to church, I come back, and that Sunday afternoon sleep, there's no sleep like it. I will sleep, I will leave my phone silent or turned off, which is one of the most difficult things for us to do. But you will say to yourself that this Sunday my phone will be off, or I'll give it to one of my children or my neighbors. I'll just make it silent and go and give it to my neighbor in their house and say, please keep my phone for me till tomorrow morning or till later in the night. Yeah. Yes. But some of us, when you want to rest, it's like, hey, fear of missing out, FOMO. Hey, if I rest now, the world is moving. Jesus, time is just running. My coach, Mfonebo, would say, you need a certain level of maturity to rest. When you can't rest, you're still doing little league. You're still doing childish things. You know how children cry when you tell them go and sleep. Children want, you say go and sleep, the child is crying like, oh, I don't want to sleep because if I sleep, the people will go out. The child is so afraid of missing out. They are crying. Even when they're sleeping, they're crying like, you see a lot of babies. When the baby starts crying, say the baby wants to sleep. So why are you crying because you want to sleep? They don't want to miss out. It takes a matured it takes a mature individual to say, I need this. This is good for me. I want to have it so that I am renewed, revived, refreshed. And then you shut down and you go and sleep. When I was a child, I behaved like a child. But now that I am grown up, I do what grown-ups do. I remember that rest is good for me. So please find what makes you rest and take it in. I'll repeat just before I drop this point. Be careful that some of us might be indulging in activities that we consider rest, but are really not restful. In fact, they might be harming us. And then, yes, for some of us, we need to just take a nap. There are some of us who actually struggle with sleep every afternoon. Every afternoon, your body does you somehow. You want to take a nap, but you go, no, please, okay. You can't be found sleeping. You can't be found sleeping on a bike. The human body is made by God to take care of itself. It's telling you something. It's telling you it's time to sharpen the saw. When you are rested, you are sharp. So now we've talked about rest. The next thing will be to reflect. If you're going to sharpen the saw, I've said rest. If you're going to sharpen the saw, if you're going to stay sharp, then you will learn the art of reflecting. What we will call in business monitoring and evaluation, M&E, right? Reflect, evaluate. Where am I? What have I done? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What do I need to do? What do I need to stop doing? Sometimes we talk about what we need to start doing, but we forget about what we need to stop doing. What should I stop? What should I start? What should I continue? What should I leave for later? What should I pull closer to me now? So after resting, remember I said in no particular order, rest is one way to stay sharp. The other way to stay sharp is to reflect, to evaluate, to adapt or to change, to monitor progress, and to count your losses or see areas for improvement. To reflect. Sometimes we would like to reflect, but we are not really reflecting. What some of us are doing is worrying. Let me see how the dictionary defines worrying. Just give me a moment. Worry. Worry is to feel or cause to feel anxious or troubled. To be troubled about actual or potential problems. To be anxious or troubled. Some of us think we're reflecting, but we are worrying. We are troubled over what's going on. Hey God, they say petrol is not paid. Dollar also hit 1,000. Hey God, how are we going to cope? That's not reflection. That's worrying. So please take notes. I'm not saying we should worry. I'm saying we should reflect. Reflect is, so dollar might hit $1,000, 1,000 naira by Christmas. Okay. What 2-3 things can I do to start earning in dollars if I'm not earning already? How can I up my dollar game? Okay. Who was it that was teaching about earning in dollars the other day? Was it John Obidi or Paul Fo? Let me see who that person is. Okay, let me go and watch one of their videos about earning in dollars. In fact, I used to earn in dollars before, but I stopped. What should I do now to improve on that? How would I stop this from affecting me? Right now, I buy petrol for my generator for this and that amount. How can I ensure blah, blah, blah? So the year 2019, I did a reflection, or I had a reflecting moment like this, and it caused me to ask for the price of inverter and solar panels. So I got all the prices, put them on the left. No, I put them on the right, and on the left was the cost of buying and maintaining a generator monthly. So I got the cost of a generator. I prorated the cost of buying petrol or diesel every month, put it down there, and I did a 5-year prorating. So in 5 years, I don't remember the exact figures, but I can. In 5 years, it was going to cost maybe about 3.8 million. At that time, this was 2019, maybe about 3 or 4.8 million. It was going to cost about 4.8 million to own a gen of the size I wanted, and the monthly commitment to fueling plus servicing and repairs, wear and tear. In 5 years, it was going to cost almost 5 million. So I'll just put 5 million as a round figure. Setting up the inverter and the solar system, initial cost was at that time 900 and something thousand. So let me just call it 1 million for the size of the inverter that I needed and the number of panels. So everything came to about 1 million. It wasn't quite up to 1 million. And then cost of maintenance over 5 years was actually less than 100,000. So in 5 years, if I was to power the house with solar, I was going to spend 1.1 million. The batteries, the inverter, the solar power, everything was going to cost me 1.1 million in 5 years. But it was going to cost me 5 million to maintain a generator in 5 years. My God, what a difference. But do you know where the challenge was? The gen at that time cost about 300,000 naira only to buy. All the other costs were going to be spent over time. But the solar system was going to cost all that money at once, or as my people will say, at a once. So it seemed like it was the expensive choice. But the act of reflecting, evaluating, monitoring was what helped me see that, my goodness, there's a world apart in the long run. So what did I do? Next question was now how to go around this 1 million. So when I spoke with the inverter guy, I got a contact from my friend. She gave me the contact for some Indian guy in Lagos. I called him and he said, "Madam, you don't need to put the solar with the inverter at the same time. Sometimes you're needing to put only battery and inverter, and when you're having money for panel, you add in panel. But for now, you can buy inverter with one battery. When you have money, you add another battery. When you have money, you add the solar panel. Even if you're not adding all the panel at the same time, you're adding them one by one." Really, there is that. I always thought you had to buy everything at the same time. So what are we doing? We are buying the panel one by one. We're buying the battery and the inverter. And shockingly, the guy even gave me a price that was almost half of what I had seen online. When I asked him the price of the inverter and the batteries, the price he gave me shook my head. He actually shook my head. Then I went to bring out the invoices I had gotten from someone else who my brother had referred me to. It was less than half. I kid you not. The price was less than half what this Indian was giving me. So he said, we are major manufacturers. We are bringing in items from India direct. Other people are buying from us. So you are buying at distributor price for them. So what I'll do, I give you one of our people who you will buy with, who will give you company price. So if we don't reflect, ask, take that time to check, write, ask, check, we may not get the solutions that we seek. We'll just be worrying over the generator chain. Where am I going to now get this money for generator chain? Oh, where am I even going to get this money for? Oh, this thing is so expensive. Oh my God, in my father's time, this thing was half this price. So then it was 1 naira to $1. God will punish these people, shall. Hey, no, don't do that. That's not what a reflecting moment is about. It's about checking. You're checking, where am I on my dream? What is holding me back? Do I need a coach? Like in 2019, I always talk about my 2018 moment when I was very restless about where I was, and I felt there was so much more that I wanted out of life, but I wasn't hitting. So I came to reflect, what should I do? Who should I speak to? Okay, let me attend this program 2018 with Coach Fun. And when I did, I was like, oh my goodness, let me join her program, because seems like what I need to help me break forth into my next level. So I paid for her program, spent so much money, got the value of my life, and I was able to reflecting will ask you questions about, where am I now? What did I say I was going to be doing at this time? Let me open those books. To check. Oh, I had said that by the time I'm an MC for 5 years, I will start training other MCs. Why am I not training other MCs at 5 years? I am now 6 years in, but I'm not training MCs. Why? And then I realized it's because I'm afraid. I have what is called something syndrome. What's that thing? Imposter syndrome. I'm afraid that, yes, I've been successful, but for these 6 years, but I don't have the lever to go on, because like people will ask me, you that you want to teach people, who taught you? And so how do I deal with that fear? So I call my friend Berini and I say, Berini, Why is this fear? This thing is holding me back. And Bernie is saying, well, then he gives me reason. So he acts as my coach at that time, or my mentor, whatever name you want to call it. And he said, you're feeling this way because of this and that and the other. Guess what? You have you have every reason to teach others because of your experience. You have seen this, you have seen that. So we can take your experience and put it down into the book. And that is what has given you the right. And besides, he said, you told me that time when you co-emceed with this person, you learned from what they did. So you learned on the job, you learned by other people's experience. Remember, you told me when one client gave you feedback and you learned this and that. So you see, you learned by getting clients' feedback. So these are your points. And guess what? Those are all the things I put together. And in my 7th year, I finally started teaching people at Top Academy, because I was able to reflect. Why am I feeling this discontent or this discontentment? So check. And reflecting is not worrying. Worrying is like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Every time I'm just feeling. No, reflecting is it's a proactive exercise in trying to find solutions, know where you are, know what needs to be adjusted. And sometimes when you reflect, you find that everything is fine. Reflecting doesn't always mean that you'll find something you need to fix. Sometimes you reflect and you go, wow, I'm actually on the right path. Everything is working out well. I reflected recently a few times and I go, wow, I am exactly where I had hoped to be. Father, thank you. Oh my word, I am actually right here. This is where I had hoped to be this time last year. This was what my prayer was for this. Wow, I got here. I did this, that, and the other, and I am here. I didn't even realize I'm here. Oh my God. Oh, thank you so much. And guess what that does to me? It brings peace, it brings joy, and it brings strength. Remember, the first habit in the book, the first of the 7 habits of highly effective people, is to be proactive. Reflecting is a proactive exercise. Nobody will do it for you. You can't react to reflection. It's something you inspire, you instigate yourself. I hope that word is right. Something you initiate yourself. What's the meaning of instigate? When did I use that word now? It just sounded very intelligent. To bring about or initiate. Hey, correct. It's something you instigate yourself. Can I get an instigated amen? So reflect. Some of us reflect daily. Some reflect weekly. The book Master Strategy by Brian Tracy would say that we should learn, the more mature we are, the more reflecting we should do daily. It helps us to be much more effective than those who reflect weekly, monthly, or yearly. Yes, instigated amen. So reflecting every day, you can reflect sometime in the afternoon, in the morning, or in the evening. What happened? What didn't happen? What was good? What should I do? What did? Okay, fantastic. I do not reflect every day. I will tell you that. I do reflect at least every week. Sometimes I reflect more than I reflect every day. It depends on what's happening. There's sometimes that I'm on something, so I'm reflecting every single day. I will also say that now, because I'm more in the habit of giving thanks several times during my day, it does cause me to reflect. And so I will just think on this, so I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. Oh yeah, this I need to do. I need to go back. So do what works for you. Set those reminders to be grateful or to reflect. You can set a reminder for 11 a.m. or 4 p.m. and just call it reflecting or reflection or reflect. And you look back and you say, where are we? Where did we want to be? Now, reflecting is not also beating yourself up. That doesn't work. That doesn't sharpen the sword. That doesn't help you stay sharp. There's some of us who beat ourselves so much that we are so blunt. We can't do anything. In fact, we start labeling ourselves. Oh, I'm so weak. I'm so dumb. I'm so this. See my mate. Oh my God. That's not reflecting. That's taking a leap and beating yourself. They're 2 different things. Reflect is to evaluate, to decide what to do next, get help. Reflect brings progress. But if you go through an exercise and it takes you back, that's not reflecting. That's beating. And when is a good time to beat yourself? Let me see. Never. The mature person who is going to win, the highly effective person, does not ever make time to beat self. We don't beat self, we reflect and take action points on what to deliver, because there's no such thing as failure. What the world calls failure, we who are successful and effective, we call learning. There's only opportunities to learn. Yes, and if it's making sense to you, write MS in the chat. It stands for make sense. You are not failing, you are learning. And when we get to, you will know you're very mature when you've gotten to the point where you look at something that went so bad and you can very quickly learn one or two things out of it and say, okay, I've learned that next time I should do this. Next time, oh, I feel bad that I lost that opportunity. But that now I know I will not lose opportunities based on this anymore because I have learned A, B, and C. And so whenever the pain comes that, oh, I lost this and this pain comes, you remind, that was opportunity cost for learning. I always say that was education bill. That was an education bill. It cost me my so and so and so to learn this and that and that. I learned. I didn't fail. I learned. Failure is feedback. Failure is feedback. Failure is telling you how to do something differently. And the moment we can look at it, nothing will be too difficult, too hard in life to fail. Oh, my marriage failed. You learned how to do this, that, and how not to do it. Hey, I failed my ICANN. You learned how to do this, that. Hey, I failed in this one. I learned to do this, that. That's a sign of maturity. The next R, there are 3 R's that I wrote for staying sharp. Rest, reflect, and renew. Renew. Rest, reflect, and what? Renew. Rest, reflect, and renew. Renewal has to do with going back to checking why we are here at all. What brought us here? Now, it's different from reflecting, where you are checking where I am, what to do next. Renewal is, I got into this journey because I want to be an icon, a symbol of hope to other people. Therefore, I will continue until at least 5 people regard me as an icon and say to me that they are on the journey because they learned A, B, C, D, E from me. And until I get those 5 people, I will not slow down. So guess what? I get on my horse and I continue the journey. Because I've been able to renew my mission, renew my purpose, renew my commitment. I renew my commitment to hosting Talk with Joyce on the last Monday of every month, because I know someone will hear what we discuss and will help them win their year. I renew my commitment to Wiser 1st to 31st December every year, because I have seen the results of the past 2 years, and there are people who have made life-changing decisions because we looked into the book of wisdom together. And so, for 2022, even though it will be way into the election season where we would be busy on the field, but I commit to Wiser because I know how much my life improved and the number of lives that were improved because of Wiser. Guess what? What happens to my sharpness? Somebody tell me, what happens to my sharpness? I improve sharpness because I renewed my commitment. I renewed my strength. Wiser 2022 is coming. Hey, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Hey, have I finished talking to all the people I wanted to feature this year? Yes, I've called this person. Yes, I've called that. Oh, this one hasn't given me a commitment. Maybe I should call this person. Oh, this year I had said we'll just have only 5 guests. Oh, yes, 6, 7. Oh, this other person, people asked for that person. So let's see. This, that. I'm renewing my commitment. And guess what? My sharpening or my sharpness is improved because I am renewing. I'm resting and reflecting on what worked, what didn't work. Then I am renewing. my mission, my vows, my commitments. In this season, for many of you who know that I'm running for office, I'm running for government chairman, there are times when some different things will happen. And I go back and I say, Joyce, why are you in this church? Why are you in this place? I'm reflecting, right? And then I look at my mission, why I joined the race. And then I renew my commitment and I say, I'm here to get this. I'm here to do that. And there are times I'll look up and I say, God, you know you can trust me, right? Lord, remember when I told you in 2007 that when I MC for this amount of time, I will do this. I will train MCs, I will mentor, I will coach, I will guide, I will help others, I will give them of myself what you have given me. So one of those days I open my YouTube and I'll say, Lord, look at my YouTube. I have over 20 videos teaching people about emceeing, about public speaking. I'm doing what I have promised you I would do. So you can trust me in this political journey that I will do this, that, and the other. Lord, you can trust me. Well, come on, that's power. That's power. At that time, my saw is sharpened. I'm sharp, and I'm like, Lord, because of this, I'm going to hold on. Hey, in fact, at that time, I no longer see challenges. I just see sharpening. Guess what? This is what I signed up for. This is why I'm here. Oh, yes, 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 yes. And so I am sharper because I'm able to win. Is this making sense to you? The answer is yes. Write MS. If the answer is yes and it's making sense to you, this might be a good time to share the video with someone else. You know that arrow sign that you're seeing there? Click on it, take it to your WhatsApp status, tell someone this makes sense. Or right here, write whatever, but drop that link. Let someone else be enlightened. They can watch this video anytime. So just as we round off, a few things to bear in mind. To sharpen the link, to sharpen the saw, to stay sharp, we want to rest, we want to reflect, we want to renew. Physically, you want to rest, you want to reflect, you want to renew. This is where we will talk about some of those things like exercise, and exercises helps you sharpen the saw. I don't mean you have to go to a gym, get a gym registration and start doing all those heavy things. No. Exercise means make some time to walk, and you can walk right there in your bedroom. If you have never done that, I am recording a series right now. It's called a 10 minutes for 10-day challenge with Joyce Daniels. It's an exercise video. The exercise is 10 minutes exercise for 10 days. For those who have been wanting to exercise or who would like to exercise and don't have the time or the energy or what to wear, it's called the no excuse workout for people who have every reason not to work out. In 2016, I did a few of those videos on Instagram, or I put them on Instagram and Facebook. It made a lot of people laugh in 2016. I would say no excuse workout. I would show people how to exercise on your bed, how to wear your regular house clothes to exercise. So now, I'm making more videos. A 10-day challenge, which we will post in November. We'll post that challenge in November. Yeah, 10-day challenge. So you see how you can exercise with such little effort by your bed without any special shoes, any special clothes. In fact, in one of the videos, I have to tell you this part. In one of the videos, we exercise wearing wrapper, tying wrapper. Like if your issue is you don't have what to tie your wrapper and just get on it, right? No excuse. So exercise is a very good thing to help in your renewal of your strength, right? Nutrition, what you feed your body with is just as important what you feed your spirit with. Because if your body is not strong enough, there will be no vehicle to carry your spirit to fulfill your destiny. Sometimes we forget that it is this body being alive that helps us get to the fulfillment of our destiny. We are so hinged on our destinies, we forget to take care of the vehicle. It's like your physical vehicle that needs to be, what's that word? It needs to be serviced, the oil needs to be checked, you need premium motor spirit. If you put in contaminated motor spirit, that would say bad fuel, right? The car has issues. It's the same with the body. It should be fed with premium, taken care of with the right. So when we say diet, sometimes I I don't want to look at diet. I rather use the word nutrition. It's not a word I use all the time, but actually it gives us a better saying. It's nutrition, what you feed your body and how it will help this vehicle carry your spirit. Other thing is stress management. For those of us who have never heard me talk about it, I will mention it now. There's something called the Dale Carnegie Golden Book. If you Google it right now, Dale Carnegie Golden Book, it's a 4 or 5 page PDF document. You can download it. Go to the last 2 pages where it talks about how to stop worrying before worrying stops you. It shows how to deal with stress. These are some of the most important principles I have ever learned in my entire life about dealing with worry, dealing with stress. And it's so small, it's in my handbag. I always have a copy in my handbag because sometimes something's about to stress me out. I just look through and say, which one? So, for example, I'm looking at page 9 in my golden book here, and it says, cultivate a mental attitude that will bring you peace and happiness. And there are 7 ways to do this. Number 1, fill your mind with thoughts of peace, courage, health, and hope. So at that time, I start thinking of thoughts of peace, courage, health, and hope. Number 2 says, never try to get even with your enemies. Because like Nelson Mandela says, when you try to revenge, it's like you swallowing poison and hoping it will kill your neighbor. So I'm not going to get even with this person who did me bad. I'm going to forgive and forget. Or I'm going to tell them that what they did hurts me. And then I'll leave it there. But I'm not going to try and get even. I'm not going to try and do back. It's because it helps me manage. It gives me peace. It helps me manage my stress. The stress involved in planning to revenge, oh my gosh, it's destroying. Number 3 says, expect ingratitude. I was so upset that I did this thing for this person. They didn't say thank you. But it reminded me, expecting gratitude. Some people will not say thank you, not because they are not grateful, but sometimes they forget. Sometimes they feel, it was her responsibility. So I ask myself, was it really my responsibility? Yes. As a nation builder, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, it was my responsibility to do right, to do good. So whether they thank me or not. Now, this is helping me. It's not about the person who didn't thank me. If it's my children, I can call them and say, come, please next time say thank you because it's courteous, it's the right thing to do. It makes me feel good, blah, blah, blah. So that's me correcting. That's me teaching. Right? I can now even have a full discussion about it. Why do you think this? Yes, we get into that moment. But to help my own sanity, I would just say, I thank myself. Joyce, thank you for doing this. You have said you will do it. You've done it. If nobody else says thank you, God is he's happy with you, and you are happy with yourself that you finally did what you had said you would do. Because I remembered here, expect ingratitude. Number 4 says, count your blessings, not your troubles. So what have worked? I start counting my blessings, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done, and it will surprise you what you also have done. When you count your blessings, you'll be like, wow, we actually are here. Wow. And then the troubles don't go away, but they become easier to manage, easier to deal with because you've counted your blessing. Number 5 says, don't imitate others. It stresses you out. If I want to imitate Sako and how Sako is an MC, or I want to imitate Nancy, the way Nancy does her own thing, or I want to imitate Richmond, or I want to imitate Adeso or Yunukwe, it puts me under a lot of stress because it's making me be who I'm not. So rather, it's what can I learn from Sako? What can I learn from Nancy? What can I learn from Auntie Adeso? What can I learn from Ebere Young? What can I learn from Richmond? Rather than imitate. Learning sharpens me. Imitating blunts me or bluntens me. Number 6 says, try to profit from your loss. Try to profit from your loss. So how do I profit from a broken marriage? How do I profit from a marriage that didn't work? Number 1, I will learn what didn't work, why it didn't work. Then I will learn what will work. And then I will profit by ensuring that if I will marry again, I would do this, that, and that. Then I would have profited from the loss. And what's the other thing I can do? I can now teach people. Oh, yes, I can teach people and put a price on that teaching. Or I can teach people for the reward of satisfaction. That's profiting from a loss. I failed woefully at SSC during my SSC. Well, not woefully, I had 2 P's in maths and physics, and so I missed the opportunity to go into uni. How can I profit from that? I tell my children that story so many times in different ways so that guess what? They never fail their exams. So I know when I tell David about it and he goes, yeah, I remember that story about this and that and the other. And that's why I read like this and read like that. And he has never failed an exam. That doesn't mean that he was so talented. No, I profited from my loss by letting my child see the 2 things I didn't do that he can now do to ensure he's always ahead. Yes, it's in hard copy. I can't tell you where you will find it to buy. That's the truth. But I know I will tell you. You can print from the internet the one you find. I can't tell you where to buy. I don't know that it is sold in shops. I don't think so. This is from the Dale Carnegie office itself. And finally, number 7 here says, I think I've said it, create happiness for others. Number 7. And this is, I've just read 7 of 30 principles in stress management. There are 30 of them in this book for stress management. There are 30 principles for leadership. Altogether, this tiny book has 60 principles. 30 for leadership, 30 for stress management. I've only read 7 of them. Imagine if I read all others. So that's a good resource. Dale Carnegie Golden Book. Please download it. Read through it. Don't read. It's not kind of book you read once. This kind of book you use in your reflection moments. You can open it every evening or every morning or every week or every weekend or something. So please, yes, you can print it out. I think we'll leave it here for now. We've said so much. Yes. Thank you. You know, some of the most stress we get when we drive is when we allow other people get into our front. You're driving and somebody is trying to cut into your lane, and you slow down to get in, and then they don't say thank you. It can be very annoying. But when you remember not to expect gratitude or to expect ingratitude, they get into your front, you appreciate yourself because you are the better for it. I allowed them get in because life is not that hard. So even if they said thank you or no thank you, it doesn't matter. I'll do what's right. Some people will say, no, I'll never let them in. Don't enter now. They don't even thank you. Nonsense. Are you seeing your stress levels going up through the roof? Come on. You know, some parents get to old age and are so upset that their children don't call them every week, don't come visit every year. After all I did for them, they can't even come back to say thank you. Who is stressed? It's you. The children are there having a great time. But when you expect it and say, well, they're so busy doing their own lives, and they come greet me, I'm doing my life. I've said to my son so many times, I said, David, I'm living for me, not for you. Everything I am doing is to fulfill my dream, my destiny. You are just a beneficiary. There is no work on the face of the earth that I am doing to pay your school fees. No. And that's my truth. I am doing what I am doing to fulfill me. From this, I earn enough to take care of your fees. But no, I am not working to pay your school fees. I am not doing anything just for you. I'm doing it for me first. I want to be a good role model to you. But in becoming a good role model, I am enjoying the life that I've chosen. And you are just a beneficiary for it. So in 20 years, I have never said to my child one day, after all I'm doing for you. Because guess what? I'm really not doing anything for him. He's just benefiting from my life that I am enjoying. I'm not. No. So for parents here, something that will hurt you so much is when you think you are working so hard for these children. Stop it! Stop it! Stop working hard for them. Work hard for yourself to fulfill your own dreams, your desires, your life. And then they will benefit from it. So that way, If you can't afford that particular school, you afford the one you can afford and then you do the rest. When it was time for secondary school, I said, how much are these, all these many school fees? How much is this one? The one I believe I can afford based on where I am in my life right now. So we put him there, and I knew that that school had no extracurricular anything to offer. They're purely an academic school. So I know that when you come home on a holiday, we'll look for extracurricular activities to give you to do. But they go to school to learn book. Yeah, that's what I can afford in this life of mine that I'm enjoying just so much right now. For yourself. Sharpen, stay sharp. It's 1 hour. I love you so much. I wish you the best in everything that you do. Wiser is coming in a few weeks or few days. We would have the link that you can share to friends to prepare for Wiser. It's absolutely and completely free. And we will just have a great time every day in the month of December, 6 a.m. for 1 hour or less or a little more. We'll come in to discuss the wisdom for the day that would help us in 2023. Stay sharp, stay sharp, stay sharp. I love you. Have a great morning, great day, rest of the month, and may your October be the brightest ever. See you last Monday in October by the grace of God. Bye for now.